Hello again, my friends. Welcome to Parent and Family Orientation. If we did not meet in the last session, my name is Charity Norman. I'm the Director of Welcome Programs here at GCU. And since this is Parent and Family Orientation, you get family pictures for some of our presenters instead of just the individual ones. So this is my family. My husband, Dustin, we've been married for almost 11 years. My daughter, Elliot, who is 6, and she is awesome. And she's one of my favorite people, and I hope that when she graduates and goes to college, she is still going to be one of my favorite people, and I'm still going to be one of her favorite people, so that's my hope for the future. I am going to give you all a brief overview of this session, and then explain also what your students are doing in their orientation groups, with the primary hope and purpose behind that being that you have the confidence in what it is that they're going to be learning and how we are helping them acclimate to life at GCU, but also so you understand the importance of letting that process happen and meeting up with them afterwards, after this evening's event. So this is their schedule for the rest of the day today. From 2 to 4, they will be meeting with their orientation group. They'll be doing icebreakers. They'll be doing breakout sessions that talk about transition and the theory, some of the theory behind the social and emotional aspects of transitioning into a new experience. I'll share some of that with you all as well. Many of you have transfer students, so this isn't their first time going through this experience, which will be helpful for them. But the reality is, coming in the middle of the year is unnerving, and it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to make friends in that situation, just because you didn't come in with the massive group of them. So O groups are really, really important for our spring starts because they become a community in and of themselves. So that's what they're going to be working on today. And then after that, their O leaders will be dropping them off at the Welcome Fest, which is a social for new students. And you're welcome to meet up with them after that if you all want to have dinner together later this evening. And there's lots to explore on campus or around Phoenix if you want to stick around too. The purposes of orientation groups, these are our learning outcomes. The orientation groups will help students to learn GCU values, instill a sense of belonging here at GCU. I talked about that in the last session. Practice and model appropriate vulnerability with one another and with their peers. Provide the opportunity for reflection and a sense of responsibility over their own academic experience. Taking responsibility for their academic schedules and for the things that it is that they want to learn, the timeline within which they want to be graduating. These are the things that we want to help them take on the reins and become responsible for them themselves. Also, more practically, we want to help them learn to navigate campus, especially with classes beginning tomorrow. So they'll be learning a little bit about how they can get around campus better and where they can expect their classes to be. And then to just do some general change normalization that everyone is going to go through a little bit of an awkward experience, and that's normal and that's fine, and you're not alone. It's developmentally ordinary. So along those veins, I want to share with you all our primary theory by which we operate all of our orientation programs. It's called the W curve. And the W curve is named this because it's shaped like a W. It has ups and downs. It's actually a theory that can apply to many different transitions in our life. Marriage, buying a new house, starting a new job, moving to a different country, things that many of you probably have experienced as well. So as I'm going through these, you might think, oh yeah, I remember when I started this new job and it felt like this, then it felt like that, and now it feels fine. The same thing happens at college because it's a significant change that's happening in a person's life. Whether they've been to college before or not, GCU is a different place than where they came from. So I want to start by sharing the first phase, which is the honeymoon phase. This is probably the phase that they're in now and might be in for the next week or so. And it's this like really high level of excitement. It's this anticipation, this place is really special and fun and everybody wants to be my friend and this is summer camp and it's better than my last school and whatever. And it feels really fun and very exciting. And like any honeymoon phase, it is pretty short-lived. Unfortunately, we don't ride the high forever, and it can vary from person to person and experience to experience. But by and large, the honeymoon phase tends to be the shortest phase in the whole curve because we soon hit the culture shock. And the culture shock is when we start to realize this isn't what I expected it to be. If they're transferring, maybe they're like, this is really different from my last institution. And maybe the last institution, I liked the way that they did it better in this particular way. Or I really miss this about home. And why does not everybody prioritize clean dishes as much as I prioritize clean dishes? Or why do I have to be doing my own laundry all of a sudden? So the culture shock, it comes generally kind of quickly when you start to realize those stars are fading. It's not the perfect nirvana that you expected it to be, and that's normal. So this might, what this often looks like is phone calls to home, or sometimes maybe even disconnection from home, and because they're trying to figure it out on their own. Both of those experiences are really normal. So if they're reaching out to you and they're like, GCU, it's not what I thought it was going to be, and it's a bummer, then that's okay. It's normal. It's normal. It's just them adjusting to the new experience. And again, you can probably relate to that if you ever went through anything new ever at all in your life. The next phase, good news, is the initial adjustment phase. So that's when, it's not quite as bright and shiny as we expected it to be at first, but it's also not as bad as what I thought it was in week 2. So we're kind of getting a little bit more accustomed to the way that things are here. And it's really important for students to be able to get to this place, kind of independently, to you can support them in helping them to understand that it's not as as dire maybe as what they think the culture shock might be, but there is a sense of accomplishment and ownership that comes with them getting from things are terrible to like, oh, things are okay. Like that helps to raise their sense of their self-confidence and their sense of grit, because it tells them then that when they face more difficult things in the future, they have tools to be able to do this on their own. So this is a really important phase. The next one, not everyone hits, but it is normal. If your student does go through this one, it's called isolation. And this one looks really different from person to person. It can sometimes be really prolonged. And this is like, I thought I kind of had it figured out, but actually I don't. And now I feel really alone because I also feel like everybody else has it figured out. This is like imposter syndrome big time. That's why it's called isolation. The students feel alone sometimes during this time. So this might tend to happen maybe a little bit after spring break or as we're getting towards finals week. That added pressure of new roommates and academics and relationships that maybe didn't pan out the way that they thought they were going to, that kind of starts to weigh down. And in addition to, oh, the academics are actually really different, and all of that sleep that I wasn't having at the beginning part of the semester is now catching up with me because I didn't go to class or didn't perform as well as I wanted to, and it's kind of stress compounds on stress compounds on stress, and they feel alone. And what they need from their support system during this time is to hear, it's going to be okay, I'm here for you. It's not, run away, withdraw, quit. These are, don't quit. Don't quit during this period of isolation. It's normal. It's normal and it's ordinary, and it's an important part of the process. And it also doesn't happen for everyone. And then the good news is the final phase, once we've gotten through all of the W, is integration. So this is the kind of the ultimate litmus test for this sense of belonging and this sense of confidence that we're able to do it here, we're able to make it here at GCU. And all of our students who successfully graduate hit this point of integration at some point or another. The W curve generally lasts for about a semester. It can sometimes last for a year. Sometimes it lasts for a lesser period of time. Again, it really does depend. You guys know your students better than we do. I just share this with you so that you know a little bit about what to expect. But this point of integration is the goal. This is what it is that we're trying to get to with the students, is to have them feel integrated from a social standpoint so that they have community. It's integrated from an academic standpoint so that they know how to study, what an agenda book is, and how to keep track of all of their assignments, how to turn things in online, what a discussion question is, and what the expectations are. All of these things build up their toolkit for their future semesters here at GCU. So, with that being said, that's actually the primary portion of our orientation theory that I wanted to share with you all. And for the next section, we're actually going to be hosting a Q&A panel with a number of different panelists that will go topic by topic. And I have a lot of guests coming up on the stage, and you will all actually have the opportunity to text in questions that we can answer from up here on the stage. So we'll be talking about health and safety of your students, and you can ask any questions that you have about their health and safety here on campus. We'll be talking about community and life on campus here. You can ask questions about campus involvement or roommate situations or making friends, tips for that. And then we'll also be talking about academic success. So any questions that you have about what their grading looks like, or how involved you can be in the grading process, or understanding what their GPA is, what kind of academic support it is that we offer here at GCU, what our tutoring looks like here on campus. And then finally, our last panel will be from one of our parent council members and from two of our GCU alumni who will be sharing some of their experience. And you can ask, what does the role typically of a parent look like of a GCU student? And to the alumni, what did you love about it here? Or what's one thing that you learned that you wish you would have known here? So that being said, I'm going to play a quick video to introduce our next speakers, and then I'll be back.
What's up? Back with another Ask GCU episode. I'm your host, Jaden.
And I'm Aldrich, and today we're going to be looking at health and safety.
Let's go check it out.
All right.
Today I'll be asking, do you guys have any experiences with student care, public safety, or like the health center?
Yes, actually, I go to the health center. I had strep literally last week, and I got like antibiotics from the health center. They're super helpful. It's better than going to the doctor at home, actually.
Well, hey guys, we are here at the Canyon Health and Wellness Clinic, and I am joined by Lauren. So Lauren, what do you do here?
Hi, I am the front office manager, and I've been here for 11 years. We function as a doctor's office with an orthopedic physician, nurse practitioners, a psych NP, a dietitian, and even x-ray. Does your child need blood work? An IV? We got them. We also offer low-cost prescriptions. Our goal is to do our best to fit their medical needs. We offer scheduled appointments as well as same-day walk-in visits. To make your appointment speedy, it is important to have the portal forms filled out prior to the appointment. And you can find those on gcu.studenthealthportal.com. We look forward to taking care of your child. Lopes up.
So look, I got some questions for you.
Yeah, you guys want to ride?
Definitely, bro. It's hot.
Get in it. Okay,
But only if you answer my questions.
Okay. Public safety here is fantastic. They're on their game.
Everywhere we see like public safety officers driving around with their cars and their golf carts.
Whatever time of day it is, they're just going to be there, ask me for ID, and it just makes me feel that much safer on campus.
And there's those like blue buttons that I just press.
Those blue buttons are really nice. One press away from help.
Hey Lopes, we're here at Public Safety, and I'm here with...
I'm Mert. I'm the Senior Campus Safety Manager here at GCU. So public safety really incorporates a lot of different things. When people think of public safety, they first probably think of law enforcement, and that is part of it. So we do have a police force specifically for GCU, which also works in correspondence with the local PD, which is Phoenix PD. Additionally, though, we also have over 100 guards that do the day-to-day operations of checking people coming in through the booths, checking permits, IDs. We respond to calls, medical calls, fire alarm calls. We also assist with transporting people that may be injured or do those types of things. Additionally, public safety also has our parking and permits. So students looking to get parking here on campus, they would come to building 80. Additionally, we do have lost and found. Lastly, if they need to file a report, they can come into our lobby and meet with one of our officers and file a police report. In addition to calling 602-639-8100, where they can file a report online as well. Public safety here, both our police and our guards are 24/7, 365 days a year. So we're constantly here being vigilant. We work all the gates at all times, and we work with various groups on campus.
One of my buddies also used some of there's like on-campus therapy here.
I know somebody who's actually used the counseling services here, and she really liked it. She did a couple group sessions, and then she actually got to go like every week for a little therapy session, which is super cool. And it's free.
We have like 10 free counselors.
The student care has been a really great resource. They're able to get you in and meet with someone who's able to help answer those questions.
I feel like it's hard to find like good counselors like that nowadays, so I feel like GCU has really great counselors.
So students should take advantage of the free counseling here.
If they need it. Hey, so students go check that out, and it's approved, right?
Approved, baby.
Hey Lopes, it's your host, Jaden here, and today I'm here with...
Christina Tibbetts. I am one of the campus therapists with our student care department.
Nice. Well, we just appreciate all your help for all the students. And what is student care?
Student care is the department that provides mental health resources for all traditional on-ground students here at GCU. The student care office is the second floor of this building behind us, building 26. We're right up the stairs, second floor. You'll follow the signs to find our front desk. The mental health services we provide are all based off of clinical assessment. So if a student would like to speak with a therapist regarding any kind of mental health issues they might be experiencing, then they would come to our front desk. They could fill out some paperwork, and we would schedule them for what we call a consultation. And during that consultation, based off of the therapist's clinical assessment, they'll make recommendations or referrals based off of what that student needs. Another thing to know is that our services are included in the tuition that the student is paying to the school. So these services come at no additional cost to the student. You can find more information about our office and the services we provide, as well as see our team of therapists on GCU's website, housed under the Student Affairs section. To schedule an appointment, you do have to come in person.
We were able to check out the health and safety services, and I hope you guys learned something, because I definitely did. What about you, Jade?
I most definitely did, and I would say make sure to utilize all these resources. They're very affordable and accessible. But that's all we have for you today. So lopes up and lopes out. Hey!
Awesome. Okay, so our first guests are Rob Handy and Mike Wallace from GCU Public Safety and Student Care. So I'm going to ask you guys to introduce yourselves, talk about what you do in your departments, and give like the top 2 things that parents and families need to know about what you do at GCU. So Rob, why don't you go first?
Sure. My name is Rob Handy. I'm a retired police chief. I was in law enforcement for over 30 years. I'm fairly new to GCU. I've been here 3 months. I guess the 2 top things you should know is your public safety department is here around the clock, trying to keep your children and all of our staff here safe. And I guess the second thing would be your kids need to know the rules. There's lots of rules here on campus. We're a dry campus. There's other issues too that we have to continually educate students on. Our goal really is to provide a lot of education to students. And some of those tough conversations, our goal isn't here to really provide enforcement. We're really trying to help guide your students along to their successful journey and transition, through college and into adulthood. But occasionally we do have to do some of those things.
Hi, I'm Mike Wallace. I'm a licensed professional counselor here at Grand Canyon University. I just finished, I think, my 7th year here. I've been an independent licensed counselor for about 26 years. I'm also an adjunct professor. I teach grad students about the profession. 2 main things to know. First of all, like they said, we do mental health counseling for our students, anywhere from adjustment issues to anxiety, depression. And the neat thing, guys, like Christina said, it's free. It's in the tuition. I think that's awesome. So that's the positive side of it. The negative, I'm not going to call it a negative side, but we have a lot of students, so we have a lot of volume, and we welcome that. But we also provide groups, individual counseling for our students, so we can service most of them. And another thing you need to know is confidentiality, because most of your students are probably going to be 18 or older. I have to let you guys know, because they're going to be an adult. If you want to know if they're in therapy, you have to ask your student, okay? We're bound by confidentiality rules. Now, if they're a minor, we will provide counseling with a minor, but it's called release of privilege. So if a 17-year-old comes in, wants to seek counseling, you guys are going to have to, through a notary public, give us the okay that they can have counseling, because we have to maintain the confidentiality piece. So basic 2 things, guys. It's really awesome. I love working here. I've got a good team. GCU is just very supportive. The morale is really high, but we're able to provide counseling, and I'm glad it's free, okay? Because not everybody can, you know how counseling goes. I think the going rate now for a private counselor is $175. That's beside the point. But anyway, we're offering groups. We offer one-on-ones. That's what's really important, and the students get a lot out of it. And so there's that issue and just the confidentiality issue. So thank you and welcome.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So at this time, now that they've introduced themselves, you are welcome to scan this QR code with your cameras. And it will take you to a site where you can text in any question for the 2 of these gentlemen up here. And we do sometimes get a little bit of a volume of questions, so we can't guarantee that all of them will be answered. But we do the best that we can to answer the questions that it is that you have. So, and as things come through, I'll actually start with Mike. Can you talk a little bit more about the scheduling process for students who want a session?
Well, the first thing is we're in Building 26, which is just east of here. So if you have a student that wants to pursue counseling, or maybe you're concerned about them, and hey, all they need to do is come up to the 2nd floor in Building 26. They fill out some paperwork. We schedule what's called a consult. They'll meet with a clinician for half an hour just to assess what they need. It can be anywhere from group work to one-on-ones to, we also have an off-campus referral base if they're dealing with maybe intense trauma, those types of things. So we're very well connected in the community. So it's basically come up to the 2nd floor. Teresa's our admin. She will give them paperwork. It takes about 15 minutes to fill out. All the informed consent is on there, so they know what to expect with counseling. Once they're done with that, they will have a 30-minute consultation, and they will either They will probably be, one thing I forgot to mention, we also have workshops around 3 weeks. They're adjustment issue workshops. They will be scheduled for that, and then they can start either groups and or one-on-one counseling, just depending on what the counselor or the clinician assesses for them.
Awesome.
Pretty simple.
This might be a question for health centers, so feel free to kick it to them. But do you take medication for mental health? Not you personally. That's too personal. Do you provide medication for mental health? Yes.
Okay, very good question. We do what's called psychotherapy, guys. So we're licensed professional counselors, so we do not prescribe medication. That's for a psychiatrist. But if I think in the wellness center, we do have a part-time psychiatrist. So what will happen if I have a new client and he or she needs medication, I will either refer them for that or off campus to be assessed for psychiatric. But we do not provide medication in our office.
Awesome. And then question for Rob. Can a student have pepper spray or something for self-defense?
So yes, students can have pepper spray for self-defense. They cannot have any weapons like firearms or pellet guns or anything like that, but they can have pepper spray for self-defense.
Awesome. And then another question about counseling. Are all of the counseling services Christian-based?
Oh, very good question. We are a Christian institution, so yes, it depends on the client, guys, because at GCU, not everyone here is a Christian, so it's kind of across the board. I can speak for myself and the rest of the office. I don't consider myself a Christian counselor. I'm a counselor who is a Christian. And the reason I want to frame it that way is we're all inclusive because we're not going to turn away people that might be atheists or non-believers because mental health is a very pervasive thing. But if I know my client is Christian, because I'm a Christian myself, I will run with that just depending. We meet the client where they're at because that's what's necessary. We don't want to discriminate just because of worldview. So, yeah.
Awesome. Rob, how secure would you say that the campus is for the students who live here?
So I would like to tell you that it's 100% secure. I can't quite say that. So we have a fence around probably 90+% of the campus where everybody who enters has to enter through a guard gate. We have guard attendants 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's 9 gates that we staff all the time. And there are a few places where people have snuck in from time to time, or we get people to jump the fence or do other things. But overall, the campus is very secure. We do have some property crimes that will occur occasionally where somebody will scale a wall and get into a parking garage and break into cars, things like that. It's very rare that we have anybody assaulted on campus from anybody outside of campus. That just doesn't really happen. You can look at our safety report. Our annual safety report is on our website, and it will tell you in there about all the assaults, property crimes, alcohol violations, everything else that happens on campus. Our goal here is really to help provide an education to your children in a safe environment for that education. A lot of our issues that we deal with we refer to student conduct. So if we come across tobacco, marijuana, or alcohol issues, our first go-to every time is to refer to student conduct for policy violations. And we work through that with the university and the institution because we want to help them develop to make better choices. And as far as this, again, back to the security, on campus is very secure. When you get off of campus, we encourage people to travel in pairs. We encourage people to travel in vehicles, not go off and wander off campus late at night, not to go wander off just to hang out at Circle K or the Quick Trip Market, things like that. I grew up in this neighborhood about a mile away. A lot has changed in this neighborhood in the time since I grew up here and went to high school nearby. And it's just like any urban environment. We really ask that students take precautions. They go places in pairs. We have escorts. We will go pick students up. We have shuttle buses on the other side of 27th Avenue. Your students are provided everything on campus that they need to be here. There's no reason. We created an environment here. There's no reason for them to have to leave campus. And if they are on the other side of 27th Avenue in a class, they can catch a shuttle back over to the other side, or they can call security and we'll even go pick them up.
Awesome. Mike, can you touch a little bit on the differences between your department, Student Care, and the Department of Student Disability Services, and how learning differences might be treated differently from you and from them?
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you my 2 cents on that. Basically, with our department, guys, we're mental health. So if it's anywhere from autism spectrum issues, we can deal with that. When it comes to SDS and other disabilities, such as academic realms, it's more SDS oriented. So if a student needs, let's say they need 2 extra weeks because they have attention deficit disorder to work with their professor, that's more the student disabilities department. They have to go through them to get that sanctioned. We don't do emotional support animals. I don't know, guys, you know that. This is the time and age where there's a lot of emotional dysregulation, with emotional support animals, those types of things. We do have that on campus, but that's not our department. So in other words, basically we're mainly the mental health to get our students to somewhat adjust, to regulate their emotions, all the adjustment stuff that Charity was talking about earlier to work through that. But when it comes to academic affairs, those types of things, have your student go through SDS services. If they need like an extension, talk to your professor if they need an extension with their academic work. So it's basically a discriminant between academic versus mental health.
Awesome, thank you. And then this will be the last question for you, Rob. Can you explain a little bit more about public safety versus the GCU police, and then how that works with Phoenix PD?
Sure. So we don't operate in a vacuum here. We have 18,000 students that live on campus, another several thousand commuter students that come in every day, plus our employees. The GCU Police Department operates more as the enforcement arm. So they're involved in engaging people who are committing criminal behavior. So if we're going to go check on a student at night, if you all as parents request a welfare check, we will go as security. So we'll send a security officer over who doesn't have any police powers. They'll go with the resident hall director in and check on a student. They'll knock on the door, interview a student, check on a student. We may refer them over to Student Care or some other services on campus. The police department isn't involved in that. If there's a suspected policy violation in a room, security would be called, and security would go in and search the room. So when your students live on campus, they sign a waiver. So if there is alcohol in the room or something like that, then the RAs, the resident assistants, would go in with security and remove that. The police don't typically get involved in that at all. Our police officers typically get involved in if there's an assault or a lot of theft. We have a lot of burglary problems, or really the biggest problem we have on campus, quite honestly, are stolen scooters. So if your kids are bringing scooters, make sure you get them a good lock and that they lock them up and they use it. Even the ones that have good locks oftentimes don't use them. But we have 18,000 young people here, so we have those kinds of challenges from time to time. Our biggest safety problem really is people falling off of scooters or crashing into other people and things. Quite honestly, you're much more likely to get hurt on a scooter than any other way here on campus. So please, don't buy the ones that go 40 miles an hour or anything else for your kids. They do have them out there. They do exist. And if they're riding scooters, just, be sure that they're careful.
Yes, thanks for that last-minute scooter tip. Okay, that's all the questions that we have for the two of you. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to show another video, and then we'll bring up our next panelists.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
My name is Tim Griffin, Dean of Students and Campus Pastor at GCU. Student life is one of the many things that sets the GCU experience apart. There's so many ways to get involved and build meaningful relationships on campus, so let's talk about a few. Residence life builds community in each living area through intentional conversations and exciting hall activities. Commuter life hosts commuter-only events ranging from free lunches and giveaways to Christmas parties. Spiritual life creates spaces for students to grow spiritually through student-led small groups called life groups, weekly chapel services, and outreach opportunities. Campus recreation helps students stay active, healthy, and connected through outdoor recreation trips, intramural sports, fitness centers, and a variety of recreational facilities. Through club sports, athletes receive top-level coaching, have access to state-of-the-art athletic facilities, and travel for regular season competition. The Office of Student Engagement is home to several programs, including the Associated Students of Grand Canyon University, the Canyon Activities Board, student clubs and organizations, Army, ROTC, and so many more. The Diversity and Inclusion Department provides the university and our students with support, community, and inclusion through events and trainings that promote equity. Welcome Program's goal is to make sure new students have everything they need to transition to life in Lope Country. Take time to click through each student life section to learn more about making GCU your home away from home. Welcome to Lope Country.
So embarrassing. Okay, so here I have Eric, Sarah, and Mariah up here, and the same deal. Introduce yourselves really quickly and share what it is that you do in your departments and the top 2 things that people need to know about your department.
Sweet. Okay, my name is Eric, and I'm the director of our Spiritual Life Office. Basically, we handle campus programming and off-campus programming that is faith-based. So everything that we do is not required, but it's definitely encouraged and very positive and inspiring for your students to belong to. Just to quickly hit some of that, we do 3 worship services a week, and those are led by student leaders who are earning a scholarship to run those programs. In this very room, every Tuesday night, this place will be packed, no chairs. We've got hundreds, almost 1,000 students every week doing a big worship night. And so it's amazing to see that the students run that and they participate. We have local outreach programs, global outreach programs, and mission trips. We have Bible studies on every floor. Basically, students are mentored by professional staff to handle ministry. So we really hope that your students jump in, and if they're coming from a faith background, they're going to feel very comfortable in that. But if they're not, maybe they want to just go to something at least to start as a positive, community-oriented program. They're definitely going to make friends. And we also work closely with a lot of churches and try to help students find a home at a church, solid Bible-believing church off campus nearby, so that when they graduate from GCU, it's not like they thought this was their church, they can't go to chapel anymore, they graduated. They actually can have a home in Phoenix if that's where they were going to stay. So I enjoy GCU so much. I have a background in youth ministry and studying theology and whatnot, so I just love these topics. And definitely if you or your students would love to chat with me or one of our staff, we are also in building 26, just on the other side of the soccer field.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm a Residence Life Manager. Residence Life exists to help your students who are living on campus develop community and feel supported during their time living here. The main 2 staff types that we have that your student will be interacting with is our resident assistants. RAs are student leaders that live on every floor of every residential building. They're there on scholarship, and they are there to serve your students. They hold weekly events in all of the residence halls so that your students have a way to meet other people and make friends and stay connected to community. And they're also there to help your students work through any questions they have or any concerns they have with life on campus. So if your student is having roommate conflict that they need help navigating, if they have a facilities concern in their room and they don't know how to submit a facilities repair request, anything like that, your RA is a peer that they have that they know they can go to who will be their friend and also help them navigate life in their building. The other staff member that your student should be aware of is their resident director. RDs are full-time staff. They've graduated. They work for us full-time, 40 hours a week. And they also live on campus in the buildings that they manage. They're like an apartment manager. They manage the RA staff. They are present in the offices in the lobbies of each building during the weekdays from 9 to 5, so your student can always stop by and chat with them. And they are also just a resource to assist your student with any questions they have regarding life on campus. If they want to join a club, if they're, again, having roommate conflict, if they don't know how to get a hold of their SSC, any questions they have, the RDs are a resource and a wealth of knowledge about navigating life on campus that your students can always go to for help.
So my name is Mariah. I am a student leader for Commuter Life here. The main thing that Commuter Life does is we hold multiple monthly events for commuter students specifically that is geared around their schedules. So usually commuters are here during the day, so we'll hold events during the day, usually morning time, some afternoon events as well, just so they have a space to find community through fun events that we put on. Definitely the main thing for your students is just to get connected. We have the commuter lounge for them, which is really nice. There's fridges in there, microwaves, so if they need to bring a lunch, they can put that there. And we also have a nice little coffee bar, so if they have a 7 a.m., go in there, get a cup of coffee before or after their class. That's going to be in Building 25, which should be on the screen there. And then also get connected with us on social media. So on Instagram, we're GCU Commuters. We post all of our events there, along with times, where it's at, and any other information they may need to know.
Awesome, thank you guys. Okay, so here is your QR code that you can scan if you have any questions about life on campus, and one of our folks up here on the stage will be happy to answer them for you. I'll actually start with one for Mariah. You mentioned commuter events. Do commuter students need to attend only commuter events, or are there other campus events that they can attend as well?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's one that we get a lot in commuter life. So no, commuters can attend any event on campus, but commuter life does ones that are specifically during the day. So as support systems and family members, I would definitely recommend sharing that information with your students so they know that they're welcome at any event that's happening on campus, because that may be something that they may not know immediately.
Thank you. Okay, next question for Sarah. What happens if roommates don't get along?
Well, believe it or not, that does happen. For a lot of our students, it's just an adjustment. You're sharing a smaller living space with people who maybe are from a totally different background from you and have totally different expectations when it comes to things like noise levels, cleanliness, how late should our guests be over, things like that. And so we want to provide tools for your student to learn how to get along with their roommate, and also just how to stand up for themselves, how to communicate clearly, these are expectations that matter to me, and I would appreciate it if you would respect that. Because that's a life skill that your students will carry with them into their next stages of life that will serve them really well. So this is a good opportunity for them to practice those skills. So we have something called a roommate agreement. Your student may not know about it, but it is something that all of our students who live on campus are asked to sign every semester. So if your student is moving into a room where last semester the roommates already filled it out and signed it, it's time for them to sit down with their roommates, they refill it out together, and they re-sign it. So make sure you mention that to your student. That agreement is full of really important questions that we feel are necessary for a healthy living area, such as what are our collective expectations for dishes, taking out the trash, cleaning the bathroom, how often should that get cleaned? How do we want to divide our chores? Do we want to use a chore chart? Do we want to use a weekly schedule? What are our expectations for having guests over? How late should they stay over? Things like that. So that's a helpful tool to make sure everyone is talking upfront, face-to-face, not over text, not over Instagram, coming up with really clear expectations and all agreeing on them together. We also have policies in place already that Rob mentioned before, but we already have things like our visitation policy, we're a dry campus, so there's certain policies that are in place that all students are expected to follow that can sometimes help prevent roommate conflict, since conflict sometimes arises from policies being broken. So encourage your student, if they ever feel like their roommate might be breaking policies, to make the RA and RD aware so that we can navigate that with them. And then the last thing we have, if conflict does arise after that roommate agreement is signed, we have a roommate conflict process where the RAs and RDs can help your students meet together with a staff member present or a peer present to navigate those conversations. We really want to help students learn, again, how to stand up for themselves, how to communicate their expectations clearly, how to ask for compromise, so that your students are learning how to have healthy conflict in a safe environment where a staff member is present to help them navigate that and make sure that everyone is being respectful in those conversations. If from there the roommate conflict does not improve, that's where the RD would step in and help your student navigate next steps. At the end of the day, we want everyone to feel safe and secure in their living space, so we'll do what we need to do to ensure that happens, but those are a few resources we have.
Thanks. Okay, a couple questions for you, Eric. How can people find out about the different events that Spiritual Life hosts? And do you provide students with biblically based churches for Sunday during their stay here, other than chapel?
Yes, absolutely. We really want to make sure students are invited to everything possible. A lot of what we do is marketing through social media, through one-on-one connections through our life groups. So students are relationally invited to something, whether that's a campus program or a church on a Sunday morning. Again, social media, Instagram. I'm sure a lot of students are on Instagram, and we have a lot there, but we have other newsletters and flyers and whatnot. So it's fairly hard for your student to not find out how to get involved if they're at least genuinely interested. And so we'll make sure that they get plugged in. And a lot of times we have large events like our chapel every Monday where students can just walk in, find a seat, or maybe go with someone. We also have a lot of opportunities that they can sign up for and commit to. So, for example, we have about 20 different ministries where we serve the local community, and we do that every week. So what happens is next week your student might find that they want to go play soccer with kids in the community, and that turns into a VBS-style program to teach the gospel. They might do that one day and go, I got to go back next week because those kids need me to go back, and then they're going every week. And so that's an amazing way that we see that community continue throughout the year. In terms of the church question, yeah, absolutely. So here at GCU, we work closely between our office and Spiritual Life. We work closely with our College of Theology to build some really strong partnerships with local churches across the valley. I grew up here in Phoenix, and I've seen this valley just explode, and there's so many churches and congregations and very great, trustworthy congregations that we work with. So if you're coming from a particular denomination or non-denominational, we would love to help your student and you navigate that process. Again, if you're new to Phoenix, we don't recommend, so to speak. We're not telling students they need to go somewhere in particular, but we'll give them options. I will say the best thing that they can do is ask their RA or their life leader on their floor, hey, where are you going to church? Can I just hop a ride with you? And that's going to lead to a lot of natural opportunities where they're probably going to go to a church that we know, and then they're going to walk in and see a bunch of students wearing purple shirts and go, oh, I didn't know so many other GCU students went here. And then they can find their connection after that. But definitely, we have a pastoral office that handles conversations about doctrine and theology and issues related to counseling in the Bible. So definitely, if your students have questions or if you'd like to chat, let us know, Building 26.
And then specifically, the question is, what is your Spiritual Life Instagram? I think it's just GCU Spiritual Life, right?
Yeah, GCU Spiritual Life, yep.
Okay, we're just about out of time, so we'll do one more question. This could be for any one of you. Do you want to talk briefly about the student leadership experience and how student leaders apply?
Sure, I can speak to that. I was a student leader during my time here at GCU. I went here for my undergrad and I was an RA. Obviously, I'm very biased, big fan of residence life, have stayed there since I was a student. But we actually have applications opening this week for all of our student leadership positions. And we do have a variety of positions: RA, Life Leader, CAB, ASGCU, many, many more to choose from. So regardless of what your students' interests are, there's likely a student leadership position that touches on those interests that they have and can help them develop their leadership skills as well. Student leadership positions look great on a resume, and all of our student leadership positions are very leadership focused and focus on developing life skills that your students can take with them into their next stage of life. It's also just really fun. All of our student leaders get to have special training times that honestly feel like summer camp. They get to have special activities they do throughout the year. They get to go out to meals with their staffs and have special gatherings throughout the year, and all of our student leadership positions really connect our students to community. They get to hang out with other student leaders that are also on staff with them. So they're building a community. They're making, I can say for sure, lifelong friends. I'm still best friends with some of the people I was on staff with in college. And so it's a really, really valuable opportunity, especially if you have a student who's maybe introverted, but you know they have some really, really valuable people skills that if they just had the right environment to nurture them and to bring that to the surface, they could really do well. I was super introverted. I came from a very small town, very small high school, didn't quite know how to come out of my shell when I started in college. This would have been like an absolute no for me. Like speaking in front of people, having people see me would be like a no. So it just is a testament to how much our students are developed in their skills, especially when it comes to leadership, and how much their community can support them and lift them up once they find it. So highly encourage you to tell your student to attend our student leadership fair, which is next week. So that they can explore the different positions we have. It will bring so much value to their college experience, and it usually comes with a scholarship too, which is a win-win for you guys as well.
Thank you, awesome. Yeah, there's over 1,000 student leadership positions available on campus, and they all come with a scholarship. So if that's something's of interest to your student, then please encourage them to attend our student leadership fair on January 10th. So, okay, thank you guys. Those are all the questions we have for you. So, one more round of applause for these guys. And I have another quick video to intro our academic success, and then we will invite up a few more panelists.
Welcome to Loeb Country. We are so excited for you to meet our amazing faculty and more of our staff who are here to support you and are committed to your well-being and success. Sometimes the professional titles and acronyms we use at GCU can be confusing. Take University Admissions Counselor, or UAC, for example. As the employee who initially introduced you to GCU and enrolled you into a program, that's my job. I'm a UAC. A Student Services Counselor, or SSC on the other hand, is a person who is responsible for your degree progression and financial clearance once you get to campus. So let's dive into the details. What are the differences between a UAC and SSC? UACs often live in different areas of the country where they recruit students. UACs counsel students and families through the enrollment process and serve as your primary point of contact when they have questions about academic programs, scholarships, financial aid, and housing. They also help with the application process, acceptance to GCU, building your first schedule, payment plans, and financial aid. Once you've started attending GCU, you will be assigned an SSC, who will take over and become your go-to resource for academic and financial assistance. Your SSC will work with you on degree requirements and other milestones all the way through graduation. Once on campus, you'll also begin to interact directly with departments like residence life, spiritual life, campus operations for parking, and many others. Student services counselors have offices on campus and are available during regular business hours, Monday through Friday. You can schedule your mandatory semester appointment with your SSC, speak with them over the phone, or send an email. SSCs also accept walk-in appointments for more urgent situations. Due to Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA, which prevents GCU from releasing certain kinds of information, SSCs cannot text students about information on their record, so email and phone are your methods of contact. Speaking of FERPA, UACs can openly discuss a student's record with the student's family until the student officially starts attending GCU. Once the semester begins, FERPA protects each student's right to privacy, which means SSCs can only work directly with the student. Parent communication becomes limited. The only person permitted to take action or make a decision is a student. In short, if you are a new student who hasn't started courses yet, please contact your UAC if you have questions. If you're already on campus, please work with your SSC. Thank you for joining the herd. We look forward to meeting with you soon.
All right, and here we have Gianna and Brian. So same deal, introduce yourselves, share a little bit about what you do and like the two things that this group needs to know.
Yeah, so my name is Gian Bortolotti. I work in student services. I was an SSC
for about 3 years. I have since been promoted to manager there. So basically what we do is, like they said, we're go-to now. You guys have been working with your admissions counselors up to this point, and so now they give us the baton and we take over from there. Our main focuses are your students' academics and finances, so we kind of be your go-to for those two things. But all the information that you got today and anything going forward, if you ever have questions about literally anything, please come to us. We want to be that go-to person. We tend to refer to ourselves as the middleman for a lot of things. So if you have a question or if you're concerned about something, we'll be your point of contact. Your students will have their student services counselor's information available to them in their portal. So it'll always be there, so they'll always know where to go and who to contact whenever they have questions. And the second thing that's important is that FERPA policy that we have. So basically, starting tomorrow, once students start classes, that goes into effect to where our contact may be limited as far as parent and counselor. And so we encourage the students to kind of take hold of their own account and their journey so that most of our communication will go through them. Hopefully they will share it with you so then they can have that kind of dynamic, but we know that's not always the case. So if you have a student that doesn't check their email or is not really active like that, we strongly encourage that you refer them to be constantly checking their personal email because, again, we communicate with them solely most of the time.
Hello everyone, I'm Brian Jones. I've been with the university for 3 years now. Prior to that, I was an admissions counselor, so I was actually on the team with Gian kind of on the team with him, helping get students enrolled. But now, and prior to that, I was the principal and a teacher in the Valley for about 15 years. So know the Valley well, know students well. Super excited to be a part of the GCU community. It really is a dream job. Like when you guys are on campus and we're all smiling at you, it's like that all the time. When you guys are gone next week, we're always smiling, we're always happy. It's a great community to be a part of. So I get to direct the ACE centers. So that's academic and career excellence. There are 13 of those across campus. And so basically we support academically, but we also support with careers. So while I was in my previous life helping students get here, now I'm helping students stay here and I'm helping students find jobs once they're ready to leave here. So that's the cool thing. So again, we have 13 centers. I work with 100 student workers. So these guys, if your students get an A in their class, multiple A's, right, in their class this semester, they have a 2.5 GPA at the end, but they want to tutor specifically for a class that they excelled in, so they got that A in, they can apply with us, and then they can become student tutors. So we provide one-on-one support, we provide group sessions, we provide test prep support. We do this in person and virtually. Weekly, we have virtual sessions, weekly sessions for all the classes that we support. So there really is no excuses. If they don't want to leave their dorm room, they can just log in and ask whatever question they have. And then apart from that, we also have career support. So we can help students find careers or jobs on campus during their time with us, that we can help them find jobs off campus during their time with us. But more importantly, we help them find jobs when they're about to transition out of here. So we do resume building workshops, we do mock interviews, we host over 100 career fairs every single semester. So really there's no excuse when it comes to academic success and getting help with their classes and helping them find jobs. There truly is no excuse. So I would say the two things that they need to know, one of the most important things is we are a big time support system when it comes to everything on campus. So we like to view ourselves as people that not only support academically, but we also help connect. So we have a social space in one of our areas as well. So we do a lot of social events on campus every month, but really and truly, if anybody has a question about anything, like where's the nearest bathroom, or I forgot where my class is, or whatever it might be, just encourage your students just to walk into one of the centers. We always have a front desk person in there, and they're willing to ask and are willing to answer any question. If they don't know the answer right away, they just Teams us, and there's 100 of us that come up with an answer within minutes. So there's always somebody who can answer whatever question they have. Doesn't matter if it's academic or career focused. Just walk into a center. Number two, your students more than likely have a UNV 103 course this semester. However, even if they don't, every single one of their classes this semester that starts tomorrow, they need to log in and they need to submit a bio. This is really, really important, and a lot of them forget or don't realize that that they need to do this. Even if their first class is on Friday, tomorrow, please remind them, tomorrow, log into every single one of your classes and go to that classroom introduction assignment and submit your bio tomorrow. It's super important, because if not, what happens?
Next week, they'll get contacted saying they might get auto-dropped from the class.
Yeah, so we don't want any kind of weird confusion. Just make sure that they log into their classes tomorrow, even if they have a Friday class and no class tomorrow, and they submit that assignment for classroom introductions.
That'll trigger in the system that they are actively taking that class. Because, again, in a week's time, our job will then be to contact them to say, hey, make sure you post, because the deadline's coming up to where you're going to get auto-dropped. And we want to avoid all that.
Awesome.
Had to scare him a little bit. Make sure it gets done.
Go to class. Go to class. College 101. Here is your QR code for these two, who, if you have any questions for them about the academic experience. So we'll start off actually with a question for Gian. Can you talk about what type of access a parent can have with their students' academics, and can they take any action on their students?
Of course. Yeah, so hopefully at this point you have filled out what we call information release form. At that point, your student is giving you parental access to the account. Now, on that form specifically, there's boxes to check on what they're specifically granting you access to. In most cases, it's going to be the standard of class schedule, finances, balances, stuff like that. So yes, in theory, you will have access to communicate with us and find out information. However, there is a password on that form that is created. Whatever the family password is that's on that form, make sure you keep handy, because anytime you want to call in or again talk about these issues that you have questions about, that will grant us legal access to communicate that with you. Otherwise, without it, unfortunately, legally, we could not. But, so if you don't know what that password is, or if you somehow forgot it and you have access, we can always reset it. Just have your student reach out to us in Student Services, and we can reset that form. It is automatically electronically, so they'll have the form available to them in the portal. Once they sign off on it, it's automatic.
Awesome. Next question, maybe Gian, you can answer this one. It's about study abroad and how a student could get started with that process.
Yeah, so we have a study abroad department. They'll be able to give all the information you may need with regards to that one. So in that case, if a student were to come to us and say, hey, I want to study abroad next semester or in 2 years from now, what do I need to do? Great, I may not have the specific answer on how to navigate those waters, but here's the study abroad department, where they're at, their number, contact them, and they'll walk them through everything. At that point, when it comes to us, all we do is just sign off and make sure all the classes fit into the schedule, and then we're good to go.
I would add to that too, every college has a college kickoff this month. So if they're a nursing student, they have a college kickoff for their college. If they're a teacher, whatever they're studying, each one of their colleges has a kickoff this month. I highly encourage your students to attend that. They will be able to communicate with all of the people that support them in that college, and they can ask those questions as well to those folks, because there's always specific study abroad opportunities for the different colleges. So definitely encourage them to talk to their folks that support them in each college, and then they can provide them with the extra opportunities and information on that stuff as well.
Amazing. Next question, there's a couple questions that have come in about the SURF form and what that is, how parents can access it, can parents access it? Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, so the student will need to, essentially, if you don't know that you have it yet, most cases it should have been done during the admissions process, but if you don't, just have your student reach out to their student services counselors, or at this point, in most cases, you're still in communication with their UAC. You can reach out to them. What we can do is create the form and have it available to you guys through the students' end of the portal. They'll go through their eDocs section. It'll be right there, and they'll just fill it out, adding whoever parent they want to grant access to, and then each parent will have a specific password that they're allocated to, and then once that is done, it's automatic for us. So, starting tomorrow, that password goes live. So after tomorrow, if you guys want to ask questions, you are granted permission to do that if that form is available. Otherwise, we just can't. But again, encourage your students to reach out to us to create that form for them so that they can just go into their portal and just have it submitted.
And then, Brian, can you talk a little bit more about career fairs on campus and what some of the connections that you have that can get students connected with employers?
Yes. So we literally, like I said, we have over 100 every semester, and we have them specific to each college as well. So the really cool thing is that we literally have employers that we've been working with, for 10 plus years that absolutely love to hire our GCU students. Our GCU students are highly recommended. They're sought after, very much so. So we have that connection with them. A lot of times, it just depends on the career fairs. Sometimes those career fairs are set up where they're bringing resumes and they're literally doing interviews on the spot. Sometimes it's just, they're getting information and they can reach back out, whatever it might be. But this is, it's one of those things where no matter what level of it is, those students are always going to get contacted back by those folks. So if they go to a table and they communicate with an employer, they're going to be in communication with your students. So I highly recommend your students go to those career fairs, even if they're not necessarily in their college. A lot of times students, don't think that, why would an engineering student go to, a college fair for the College of Education or business? There's a lot of reasons why. So there's a lot of times these careers, cross over, and people don't realize that there's opportunities for an engineering or a business student in all of the different fairs. So definitely encourage them to do that. And there's also information on each one prior to, so they will know ahead of time if they are going to be doing live interviews, if they are going to be requiring resumes and things like that.
Awesome. Okay, those are all the questions we have for you guys. Thank you both very much. A round of applause for them, please. And our last group of panelists is alumni and a parent council member. So if you all would please come and join me on stage. We don't have a video on here for this one, but round of applause. All right, so we have Christian, Luis, and Pam. Same deal. If you guys could briefly introduce yourselves, share what your connection is with GCU, and then what it is that you're doing now.
Sweet. My name's Christian. I graduated from GCU in December of 2021. I was a transfer student and a commuter when I started coming to GCU as a junior, so definitely had the odds stacked against me, but survived it. It was a super awesome experience. And since then, when I graduated, I got a job doing marketing and advertising for a solar power company out in Mesa, which is about 30 minutes from here, and I've been doing that ever since.
Hi, my name is Luis Pena. I was born and raised here in Phoenix, Arizona. I came to GCU back in 2018, and I came here and studied computer science with an emphasis in business entrepreneurship. I was very fortunate to get a scholarship called the Students Inspiring Students Scholarship. It's a full tuition scholarship, and without that opportunity, I would have never came here. But I'm glad to say that I did come here, and I graduated, and I now work in downtown Phoenix as a project manager for a group of software developers at a company called Prepass.
Hello. Hello. That's why that one didn't want to work. My name is Pamela Benjamin. I am a... They're like, your mouth is big enough, you don't need it. Hello. There we go again. My name is Pamela Benjamin. We have been a part of the GCU family for 9 years. I have 4 girls that attended GCU my last set. My twins graduate in April, but all 4 of my girls have attended here at GCU. I am a member of the Parent Council here at GCU. There are 15 of the Parent Council members, and the Parent Council, or the Lotz family, is a program that is here to serve you guys so you don't feel like you're so disconnected when, you know, tomorrow you're cut off, right? We're here to let you know that you're still connected in some way, form, or fashion.
Awesome. Okay, here is the QR code for these 3 panelists here. And I'll start off actually with a question for either of our 2 alumni. One or both of you can share. In what way do you feel like GCU best prepared you for life after graduation?
That's a good question. I feel like they prepared me in a lot of different ways. I was a student that took advantage of all the opportunities here on campus. I was really involved. I was a resident assistant. I had a part-time job as a Learning Lounge lead here on campus. I was also part of a club called TEDx Grand Canyon University for 4 years. And I was also involved in the college research programs. And on top of that, I was a full-time student. So I wore a lot of different hats, but all of those opportunities allowed me to learn a lot of different experience, meet a lot of different individuals, and make a lot of different connections, which both helped me personally and professionally. So I would say in a lot of different ways, I was able to grow, not only as a person, but also in my skills relating to my specific studies in computer science, but also broadly speaking, how to communicate, how to set expectations, how to project manage a lot of different areas. And I would say that it prepared me just to go out into the career, into my career in the workforce. And I would say the most difficult part was getting that first job. It's really scary, especially because of how different it is. I felt, in my personal opinion, I felt like applying for a job was like applying for a scholarship. A lot of times no one gets back to you, and a lot of times you get no's, but there's every once in a while you get a call back, and then you have that opportunity to, you know, try to get that job. And I feel like they prepared me in very different ways. Sorry, I'm blanking out a little bit. I want to say that GCU helped me prepare just in the professional sense to be able to communicate and articulate myself to my employer to get that first job, and also stay there and prove that I'm a really good worker.
Awesome. Do you want to share?
Sure. Yeah, I have a lot of relationships with students that have been transitioning out of their time at GCU, and whenever my friends ask me, you know, what's kind of the hardest thing about graduating college, there's a couple of areas of life. Number 1 is community. Number 2 is work. Number 3 is finances. Number 4 is faith. I think GCU prepared me really well in all those areas, especially in community. Loneliness is, you know, an epidemic in our generation, but I think that the events that GCU throws on, all the ways that you can get involved on campus, help you develop that community if you really seek that and want that and pursue it. And in tandem with that, it gives you a lot of work experience, getting involved in clubs and whatever that may be.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Pam, question for you. So is there a way that parents specifically can hear from the university, or is there news that specifically goes to parents?
Yes. We have the Campus ESP newsletter that goes out. I believe, like you just shared the QR code, right? She just shared the QR code, and when you go into that QR code, and you can reach out to Lotz family. You can reach out to Lotz family through Lotz family at GCU and you can log on and be a part, sign up for getting the newsletters. Listen, it's very important to join in with the newsletters, because half the stuff that you may hear or not hear from your students, listen, you'll find out that stuff on the newsletter. They're like, I don't know why housing is tripping like this. I don't know why, you know, they say I may not have housing. But if you look at the newsletter, you see that your child was informed about the housing. Like, you will find out that there are posters all over the place, colorful posters, right? And so it's really, really helpful, because if you're not a parent, if you're a parent that just go by what your child says, like you would think like, what is wrong with the school? What is whatever? But if you pay attention to the newsletters, like it informs you with everything. Like you'll be amazed. Like so many times when we have family weekend, right? And parents, students are like, I didn't know anything about the family weekend. No, it was out there. It was out there, right? Whether or not they were busy at GCBC or whatever the case may be, it's out there for them. And so that keeps you informed. You know, you may not be able to go directly to the academics or whatever the case may be, but you have your plug. You have an outlet where you can get your information. And so when your kids say, well, I think housing starts in April or March or something, you can say, no, I know housing, you do your deposit in February. I know that happens because it's on the newsletter, right? And so you're in the know just as much as they're in the know, and it kind of gives you a peace of mind. I know for me, with all these years being with GCU, you know, it gives you a peace of mind. I sometimes it doesn't benefit the kids, right? Excuse me, the students. It doesn't benefit them at all, because when they come to you, you can say, oh no, here it is, right here, right there. You know, oh, no. They did let you know that was closing. Here's a whole schedule when you need to be out, you know, and that kind of thing. And so you are definitely in the know when you join into the newsletter, when you join into LOPE family groups. We have LOPE family groups in your areas, right? So for prayer and all kind of stuff. I love our LOPE. I've been a LOPE family leader for 9 years, right? And with that, it's so great because we don't just pray. We don't just talk about situations, right? Because everyone comes with a situation, or everyone comes, like people may not attend regularly, but if they feel like they have a situation, they're there. And before you say, how is everyone doing today? They'll say, oh, well, let's talk about this. I need to know why GCU is doing this, right? So it's like that kumbaya time, right? Where you're talking about, you know, what do you feel about your child's growth and all this stuff, your students' growth and all those things. But you don't just talk about it, they pray about it. And so you have a community within your community that belongs to GCU. And so, listen, you want to get, like we tell the students, we want them to get everything that's out there for them. Same thing for the parents. You want to get everything that's out there for you, so you have a GCU community just as well as your students.
Awesome, thank you. And we will put up, we didn't put the QR code up yet for Campus ESP, but we will after this section. And can they find out about LOPE family groups and family weekend and other parent-family events through Campus ESP? Do you know? Yes, Cheryl Ann's shaking her head.
Oh, I'm saying
yes.
yes.
Her head,
Yes. And there's usually booths out as well. Like booths, tables, and stuff and everything. Perfect. Yes.
Great. Awesome. Okay, we'll do one more question for Christian. So you mentioned that you were a transfer student. What advice would you have for other transfer students who are starting right now at GCU?
I would say, just like any sales role, if you're looking to get invested into community, you're going to face a no a couple of times. And it's not going to be super smooth sailing from the jump. A lot of people might have relationships that they've built up already, and don't get discouraged after trying to hang out with someone for the first time and you don't click right away. That's just not how relationships work. You have to be persistent and consistent and try. And man, it really, really pays off to just work at it and keep showing up to events and getting people's phone numbers and following up with them afterwards. It's really simple stuff done over, a couple months period of time that will reap, a ton of rewards throughout the rest of your life. Like a lot of the people that I met at transfer events or at silent disco or whatever event it may be, ended up being friends that I've had for years ever since. And so, just encourage putting yourself out there.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Okay, how about we give them a round of applause? Okay, and the last thing that I have for you guys is this is the promised QR code for Campus ESP. So you can scan this here. This is how you can sign up for the newsletter that Pam was talking about, and all of the involvement opportunities that you as family members have. And we affectionately refer to you as the Lope family. We know that that is probably not your last name, that you're probably the Smith family or maybe the Lopez family, but not the Lope family. But you will be welcome into the Lope family, and Campus ESP is going to have all the information that you need in order to stay involved and stay in the know of what's happening at GCU. It is also the official communication of GCU. The parent Facebook, any random parent Facebook page that you find on Facebook is not the official communication of GCU. Campus ESP is the official communication of GCU. So go ahead and scan this QR code, and then you can learn more about what it means to be involved. So that is all that we have for you here today. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for entrusting us with your students. A couple of us are hanging out back here. If you have any more questions, I'm so happy to answer any questions that you all have. And other than that, God bless you all and have a wonderful new year.